Welcome to this Game of the Week edition of the High School Huddle on the Dodge Sports Desk at Pubco Studios. My name is Brandon Chatman. I'm joined by Ryan Aber. He's the lead prep writer for the Oklahoman. And this week we'll be taking an in-depth look at the Class 5A state championship game, which features Tulsa, Washington, and Carl Albert on Saturday afternoon at Sand Springs High School. So Ryan, when you look at Tulsa, Washington's offense, they have Eric Bennett. They're a talented core group of receivers, good running backs. How is that offense going to go against a tough Carl Albert defense?
It's going to be an interesting matchup because Carl Albert's secondary is extremely talented. They've got Daytwan Lowe, Trey Porter, Markel Walker, Ozell Littleton. They can go a couple deeper even from that. This isn't the same secondary that we saw in Week 1 when Tulsa, Washington beat Carl Albert 40-7. Eric Bennett was able to have a lot of success through the air. I believe he threw for over 200 yards in that game. They've gotten a whole lot better since then. I'd have to probably give this no advantage here, call it a push and move on. But Eric Bennett is extremely talented. Michael Doctor has done a great job at running back. And Bennett can really kill you both ways. He can throw it when he needs to. They've got some good receivers with Skillins and some other guys. And he can run it himself when he needs to. So a really key matchup here is going to be the line play on both sides of the ball, and who controls the line will tell a lot as to how this game's decided.
All right, when you look at Carl Albert's offense, obviously they have David Oku. They have a good quarterback who can run and pass in JT Realmuto. Going against that Booker T defense, who you think has the advantage there?
I'd have to give the advantage here to Carl Albert. We talked earlier about Jeremy Smith having a great run through the playoffs. David Oku is no different. Last week he turned it on to the tune of 326 yards, 38 carries. They just kept giving the ball to him and giving the ball to him. He was held to under 100 yards in the first meeting of the season, but really burned Tulsa, Washington in last year's game. I really look for him to have a bounce-back game from that one, continuous strong run. And they've also got a little trickery that they've done with Daytwan Lowe a few times, and it doesn't matter if there's tricks involved or not. Daytwan Lowe is a hard man to defend regardless. But when you throw in the wrinkles that they've been able to throw in, it makes it even more difficult.
Both teams are full of athletes, have good returners. Who would have the advantage on special teams?
That's a tough one. Carl Albert at times has struggled with the kicking game. They've found a kicker, a place kicker. They've got Christian Smith kicking off. He's done a pretty good job there, although he's been a little bit banged up this week after suffering an injury early in that Lawton MacArthur game last week. It's a tough one. I'd have to give the edge to Tulsa, Washington, though, because they do have a great place kicker, probably one of the best around. And if they need a late field goal, he's the man to get it for them.
How do you feel like Tulsa, Washington knocking off Carl Albert 40-7 to begin the season? How do you think that game's going to affect this game?
Well, it could be interesting because there's a chance, no matter how much Antoine Jimerson preaches against it, there's a chance that those players are going to let that get to them a little bit and say, oh, we beat them 40-7 to start the season. We're better now, so we should be able to beat them at least that bad this time around. That's dangerous, though, because Carl Albert's a completely different team than we saw in Week 1. They've changed offenses, and that really affected everything from the top down with them. This is a much better team. I'm not sure. With Carl Albert, it gives them some incentive. Obviously, they're not happy about what happened in Week 1 and want to prove that was a fluke. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out on the field.
All right. And bottom line, give me a winner of the Class 5A state championship.
Do I have to right now? I'm going to go with stick with Tulsa, Washington. I picked them to win the championship in the beginning. I'm going to stick with them this time. Not real sold on the pick, but I look for them to win by we'll say 24-21.
All right, Ryan. Well, we appreciate your expertise. Thanks for watching this special edition of the High School Huddle. We'll be back next week on the Dodge Sports Desk as we preview Class 2A and Class A title games.